I got engaged to a blind duke. Episode 161 Epilogue. Roanna stood in front of her daughter's door with a pale complexion. She had tried to enter several times, but couldn't bring herself to go in and kept turning away because it hurt her heart to confirm with her own eyes that her daughter wasn't there. However, there was something she really wanted to go in and see. Roanna took a deep breath and slowly opened the door. "Mom." It seemed like her daughter would greet her with a bright smile, but without its lovely owner, the room felt empty and desolate. Roanna moved her weary steps and stood in front of the antique vanity table. Marine had brought the vanity table that her husband had cherished all the way to the Duke's castle. The reason she never gave up the vanity table even in their difficult circumstances was probably due to guilt and longing for her father. That incident in the past was an accident. On a day when it was raining heavily, a disaster that occurred when the carriage wheel got stuck. Yet Marine couldn't escape from her guilt, saying the accident happened because she had urged them to hurry and depart. Even though Marine herself had been severely injured too. No matter how much she coaxed and comforted her, her daughter couldn't break free from those thoughts, but she changed after meeting the Duke. And now she could even ride in carriages. Roanna gently stroked the vanity table and slowly sat down on the chair. Then she opened the drawer and felt around inside. Soon something hard caught in her hand. The stone she would sometimes secretly take out and look at when Marine wasn't around. Roanna held the black stone split in half tightly in both hands and prayed. "Honey. Please protect Marine this time too, wife." At the voice calling her, Roanna looked up from her embroidery hoop. Her husband, Viscount Schwentz, was standing at the door with a bright smile. "What are you doing not coming in? I like watching you from here so much. How beautiful my wife looks under the sunlight. We don't need any famous paintings." Roanna smiled shyly at her husband's excessive praise. Even though their children had all grown up and their second daughter Marine would soon have her debutante ball, her husband always looked at her lovingly. "Thank you. How are you feeling today?" "Good. At this rate, I think I'll be able to go to Marine's debutante ball together." Her husband came into the room and lovingly adjusted the shawl draped over her shoulders. "Don't overdo it." "Of course. Didn't you say you went to make a ship contract today?" Roanna naturally changed the subject. Even though she was just a little weaker than others, her husband worried too much. "That's right. I met a person from the Tiha Empire, and he had a very wonderful item. So I bought it as a gift for Marine's debutante ball." Roanna tried her best not to frown. Her husband was a romantic person. Positive, generous, and kind. He was a really good person, but he was also easily deceived by bad people. Most of the things he bought were usually cases where he had been tricked. "What did you buy?" "Here it is." Her husband took out a red velvet box. Inside was a black round stone. Roanna tried not to show her disappointment and looked up. "It's a stone." "That's right. I hope this common-looking stone wasn't expensive." Her husband burst into hearty laughter. "It was extremely expensive." Roanna clenched both hands tightly. "What should I do with this man? If I scold him again this time, he'll definitely be very dejected." Not noticing that she was seriously worrying by herself, her husband said proudly. "You know, don't you, wife? There are many mysterious stories in the Tiha Empire." Yes, Roanna decided to respond to his words for now. It would probably be better for her mental health not to ask how much her husband spent on this useless stone. When this stone splits in half, a miracle happens. A miracle? What kind of miracle? A miracle related to past lives. Even the person selling this stone didn't know the exact details. Roanna closed her mouth, not knowing what to say. To buy something without even properly knowing what it's for. Unaware of her feelings, he continued with an excited face. "Whatever miracle it is, I hope it helps Marine. Right?" Ah, her gaze fell on the black round stone. But could this solid-looking stone even be broken? Reading her thoughts, he burst into hearty laughter again. This stone absolutely cannot be split in half. Roanna looked up at her husband with a face full of things to say. He bought a stone that would cause a miracle if split in half, but it absolutely cannot be split? Before I came, I even tried hitting it with an axe, but it wouldn't split. He said proudly. What should I really do with this innocent man? No. It would be faster to catch that seller who sold this absurd stone to this man and get the money back. Roanna looked at her husband with a gentle smile. Where is the seller? After selling me the stone, he went to board a ship. He took the money and ran. Roanna looked quietly at the stone in front of her with resigned eyes. No matter how she looked at it, it was just an ordinary stone. Her husband spoke as if he had read her mind. It looks ordinary, doesn't it? But they say when someone chosen by this stone holds it, it splits in half. Our treasure will definitely be able to split this stone. Are you really going to give this stone as Marine's debutante ball gift? Of course. It's a stone more expensive than most jewelry. Ah, she ended up hearing something she shouldn't have heard. Roanna looked at the black stone again. Please let Marine see this ordinary stone and show the reaction her husband wants. Watching this scene, a caring smile appeared on her husband's lips. His wife would think he had wasted money, but he believed in it. The power of this mysterious stone. The person who sold him this stone also said he was boarding a ship and suddenly disappeared mysteriously before his eyes. If it was a stone sold by such a person, it must have very mysterious powers. Bang 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 dash. It all happened in an instant. Viscount Schwentz held Marine tightly in his arms. Blood flowed from somewhere he had hit, making it hard to open his eyes. I must protect our treasure. It's okay, our treasure. It's okay. He hugged his terrified daughter even tighter. Bang. At that moment, a massive impact struck. Marine, who had been thrown back, struggled to open her eyes and reached out her hand toward him. He too desperately stretched out his hand, but could barely put any strength into his arm. Marine's desperate gaze gradually lost its strength and slowly closed. Marine. Open your eyes. You'll be okay, our treasure. It's okay. But no matter how much he shouted, his voice wouldn't come out properly. Where is Marion? Beyond Marine, he could see his son Marion, already unconscious. Viscount Schwentz forced strength into his trembling body to check on his children's condition. With great effort, he crawled to Marine's side and grasped his daughter's hand. His daughter was unconscious, but fortunately, she was breathing. Realizing this fact, pain rushed through his relieved body. He gasped for breath and pulled out the black stone from his pants pocket. He had wanted to tell Marine about this mysterious stone and give it to her. Viscount Schwentz placed the stone in his daughter's hand. Suddenly, his eyes widened. The stone in her hand had split in half by itself. My wife, I was right, wasn't I? Our treasure. Congratulations on your debutante ball. He smiled with satisfaction and slowly closed his eyes. Just a very little rest, then I'll go to Marion. Please. Roanna prayed desperately. The black stone her husband had left behind. She had cried all night after discovering the stone that was supposed to never break was split in half and clutched in Marine's hand. She deliberately didn't tell Marine about the stone. She was afraid it might make her even sadder. Even when Marine hid this stone somewhere out of sight, she thought it would be fine as long as she didn't throw it away. But now, if only her daughter could return safely, she wanted to pray to anything. Then, suddenly, the door burst open. Yulia, her face covered in tears, shouted with a bright smile. Lady, the lady has returned. Roanna asked with a dazed expression. What? Lady Marine and His Grace the Duke have just returned. Yulia approached and extended her arm as if to support her. Roanna grasped Yulia's hand with trembling hands and stood up. My daughter has returned. Yes. Both of them are healthy. Thank you, Yulia. Roanna put the stone she had been holding back in the drawer and left the room with Yulia's support. And before closing the door, she looked back at the room. Thank you. Finally, the door closed. There was a sound of the stone in the drawer rolling once. But no one heard it. The end.